What's up, Endurifiers? This is Mario, and I'm back with another episode of Endurify. And today has been a big day. So if you listened to yesterday's podcast, then you know that I'm making the trek back from Hilton Head, South Carolina, back home to North Liberty, Iowa. And I'm not doing it alone. So I'm doing it with my wife, Emily, our baby, Ellie, my parents, and our dog, Wally. And we are packed in our Nissan Rogue. But we've had an amazing day because we took a slightly different route, and we're making our way through the Smoky Mountains. And so we did some hiking, we kind of hung out, got some dinner, and we just got settled in our hotel room. It's like 8:30, and I haven't done my podcast for the day, so I'm getting that done. And so I was just thinking about what are some things that I could talk about today. And there was something that actually came to mind this morning when I was going for my run. So I knew that I was going to be in the car for 8 or 9 hours today, and we got up kind of early and wanted to get on the road by 8 a.m. So I knew that I had to get up at like 6 a.m., get my workout in, pack up, load the car, and then go. And I was thinking about, of all of my different goals that I have in mind, what is a similar what is the connection between all of those, and what is like the number one skill or the number one trait that will help me achieve all of those goals. And so when you think about some of my different goals, one, start a business. Two, start a podcast. And, not just have any sort of business or any sort of podcast. I want to have a top 50 podcast in the Apple Podcast someday. That's why I'm doing this every single day. When you think about some of my fitness goals, I want to complete a 50-mile ultramarathon. I want to complete a 100-mile ultramarathon. I want to complete more Ironman events. Someday I want to do an Ultra Man, which is like an ultra Ironman. So I have these big goals. And, when it comes back to business as well, if you're familiar with the ClickFunnels kind of community, you know that there's a 2 Comma Club award, which is given to entrepreneurs who develop a sales funnel that sells over $1 million in sales through that funnel. So there's 2 commas in 1 million, and that's why they give out these big 2 Comma Club awards. And so that is also something that's on my list of goals. So when you think about, what is the connection between all of those different goals, and what's the number one trait that will help me achieve all of them, from achieving the 2 Comma Club award in business, having a top 50 podcast and Apple Podcasts, and achieving the 50-mile ultra, 100-mile ultra, Ironman events, Ultraman events. To me, it all comes down to endurance. And that is kind of the core premise of what I believe, and it's the core premise of this show. So for me, my favorite definition of endurance comes from dictionary.com, which is endurance is the ability to continue or last despite adverse conditions, stress, and other things that get in the way. And, when you think about these big goals that I have, and that you likely have similar big goals just like that, these are things that are not going to happen overnight. And so if they're not going to happen overnight, and many of these things, they take months or years in order to achieve them, then you're going to need to continue. You're going to need to persevere. You're going to need to take action even when you don't feel like it. Right now, it's 8:30. I've been driving for 9 hours, and all I want to do is just go lay in bed and get ready, for tomorrow. But I haven't gotten my podcast done, so I need to continue or last. This is an example of endurance. The same is true of the ultramarathons and of business, because you need to persevere. You need to keep pushing, even when you're not feeling it, even when things aren't going your way. And so that, to me, is the core kind of missing link between all of those. And, if you believe in that ability of endurance, or that power of endurance to help you achieve those different goals, then you're probably wondering, then how do I develop endurance, or how do I get endurance? You don't just have endurance or not. It's something that you develop over time. So it's kind of by starting something and continuing and lasting, you're demonstrating endurance, but you're also developing it at the exact same time. So, that is the way that you develop endurance, is by enduring through hard things and enduring through them over time and doing that consistently. And I believe that the best way to develop endurance is to do so with an endurance event or an endurance challenge, like a half Ironman, like a full Ironman, because it's such a big goal, but it's specific. It's a long-term goal that's on the calendar. It's on a specific date, and it's something that you can strive towards, and it's something that can help you achieve something. And when you achieve something, you start to become something different. And that is also kind of the main part that I really believe in, that it's through the achievement of an endurance event that you develop endurance and you become something, and you're transformed through that process. So it's just something I've been thinking about with all of these big goals that I have. What is the kind of the main connection between all of those and its endurance? And, like I said, if you're thinking about, or if you believe in that, and you're wondering, how do I develop endurance? Then this is what I'm saying to you. It's the best way to develop endurance is to sign up for a half Ironman, an Ironman, a big event. Maybe for you, it's a 10K or a half marathon or a marathon. Sign up for something like that. Get it on the calendar. Have that big goal. And over time, start to develop endurance by putting the time in over time on days when you don't feel like it. Continuing to build off of the days when you do feel really good, the days when you are super confident, the days when you have tons of energy. That's also a way to develop endurance. And it's just something that I really believe in. It's something that I'm thinking about, and it's something that I'm, trying to exercise right now in a day like today. And so that's kind of just my thought for today, is that connection between all of those big goals that I have, that I wanted to share with you. And this is where I want to bring it back to you and just ask you, do you believe in the power of endurance? And if so, what are you currently working towards that can help you develop endurance? What are you currently working towards that you're putting in the work day after day after day? And also, do you have something where you're going to be able to check it off and mark if you have completed it or not, if you have achieved your goal? Because it's through that achievement that gets you motivated, but it's through that achievement that you start to be transformed. So that is kind of what I have for today. It's something I've been thinking about. I wanted to share with you today, and I hope that served you. Speaking of endurance, I've got another long day of driving tomorrow, but it is beautiful. It's so much fun having my family here, having Ellie in the car, Wally's in the back. We are literally packed in this car, but it's so much fun and just such a special memory. So anyways, that's what I have for you today. I hope that served you, and I hope you all have an amazing day.